She's so fine. Helluva, blows my mind. Helluva, lights my day.
What's good, guys? Today is Wednesday, September the 30th, 2020. And I wanted to bring this story regarding the officer who was not charged, or one of the officers who was not charged in the Breonna Taylor murder. I just read this, and it's definitely newsworthy. The title, well, first of all, let me go ahead and tell you where it's from. This is from NBC News. It says, officer in Breonna Taylor case who'd fired fatal shot has fundraiser for his retirement. An online campaign seeks $75,000 for Miles Cosgrove so he can buy the rest of his service time to, quote, retire and focus on the safety of his family, end quote. Must be nice. Breonna Taylor did not have that chance. This article was published on September the 29th, yesterday at 7:18 p.m. And right now it's just after midnight where I'm at, so about 6 hours ago. Wrote by Janelle Griffith. A detective, who Kentucky Attorney General said fired the shot that killed Breonna Taylor, is seeking to purchase the rest of his service time so he can retire from the Louisville Metro Police Department, according to an online fundraiser launched by his family. The campaign on GiveSendGo.com is seeking $75,000 to help Officer Miles Cosgrove purchase the rest of his service time, quote, so that he can retire and continue to focus on the safety of his family, end quote. It says the family has been put, quote, continually at risk over the past few months, end quote. It had raised a little more than $7,200 as of Tuesday evening. Cosgrove could not be reached for comment Tuesday. The founder of Give, Send, Go, Jacob Wells, confirmed the campaign was created by Cosgrove's immediate family and said proceeds will go to them. There's a picture of Breonna Taylor in a family photo. The campaign was first reported by the Courier-Journal newspaper of Louisville. That's also basically our state newspaper. And as most of you know, I am from Kentucky. I live in Western Kentucky. Cosgrove and Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly are on administrative leave while separate internal and FBI investigations are conducted into the March 13th raid at Taylor's apartment. Mattingly was wounded in the shooting. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron said a grand jury agreed that Cosgrove and Mattingly fired in self-defense after Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, who said he mistook police for intruders, fired at them. A grand juror in the case, who filed a court motion Monday seeking the release of the grand jury's transcripts and permission from a judge to speak publicly, has disputed that account. Kevin Glogauer, one of the attorneys for the juror, who is not named in the motion, said Tuesday that it is unclear whether the grand jury was given an option to charge Cosgrove or Mattingly in Taylor's death. The grand jury last week indicted a third officer, Brett Hankinson, on 3 counts of wanton endangerment. Hankinson was fired in June for his conduct during the raid. He is accused of firing bullets into another apartment with 3 people inside. No one in that unit was injured. None of the 3 officers were directly charged in Taylor's death. Hankinson pleaded not guilty Monday and is free on a $15,000 bond. Taylor was shot 6 times, Cameron said. She died in the hallway of her apartment. The, quote, fundraising story, end quote, for Cosgrove says the result of the raid, quote, was tragic for all involved, end quote. Quote, any situation that results in the loss of human life is and should be considered a monumental travesty, it says. As time has passed and outrage has been made known, and as protests only continue to grow, it is our ongoing stance that creating a conversation which is both safe and rational is the only way to find a solution. We must create an atmosphere of progress for everyone. It continues. However, amidst this conversation, safety has proven difficult to come by for Miles and his family, and we are, at this point, emotionally concerned for all parties involved. End quote. The campaign takes aim at the news media, saying Taylor's case, quote, has been forged into a tool for an agenda that has no regard for the lives that are being destroyed, end quote. The story also says, quote, while it's imperative to listen to each and every one of our city's voices at this cultural moment, we would like to highlight an important note, a simple exercise in understanding. Most people simply don't understand what it's like to be a police officer in America today. The nerve. I can't believe that's even wrote. Most people don't know what it's like as a career to put your life on the line on a daily basis to simply serve and protect your community. Most people don't know what it's like to have a weapon fired at you, end quote. I beg to differ on that. I beg to differ. And it says, quote, even fewer know what it's like, after all of that, to have the entire world turn on you with pure vitriol for simply performing your job exactly as you were trained to do by your superiors, end quote. Cosgrove's family said they asked that people, quote, take a moment of empathy to place yourself in that position, think about what it would be like for yourself, end quote, and consider what they are going through. The police department did not immediately respond to requests for comment, including about whether Cosgrove has initiated the process to retire. The Courier-Journal reported that neither he nor Mattingly has filed retirement paperwork. The newspaper also reported that a police department spokeswoman said in August that the officers were being provided security outside their homes following threats. Yeah. The nerve. Some of these statements are just outlandish that would come out of their mouths. You have to take into account what you did in that moment, and you have to be held accountable for that. In the heat of the moment, did you make the right decision? Did you fall back on your training? What did you do wrong in the heat of that moment? That's what you need to be focused on. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this story about the $75,000 crowdsourcing to let him retire and focus on the safety of his family. Breonna Taylor's family would have liked to have had safety for their family member as well. So that's really all I have as far as this story goes. But I plan on doing a video so that I can really show you what I'm about as far as these charges and what they are and what that exactly means. So, you guys have a good evening. Or good day, rather. It's after midnight.